Hello, everybody. Welcome to our live show, Making Meaning. My name is Kristen Burke. I am your host. I'm also the recruiting manager for AMN Language Services. I'm joined here by our certified deaf interpreter, Sean, and he's teaming with Sasha in the background. So thank you so much for being here. We have a fantastic show for you today. We're going to learn all about career connections. This is our training conjunction program here. And if that doesn't make any sense, which it probably doesn't, stay tuned. You're going to know all about it by the end of this segment, okay? So let's go ahead and talk about our fabulous panel. I'm joined here today by Kevin, Jenna, Pierre, Carla. Let's bring them out. Let's meet them. Hello, everybody. So before we meet the panel, I just want to speak to the audience, let you all know that you all are the reason that we're here, right? So we really want to hear from you. We want you to ask your questions. This is your time to shine. So anything that's been on your mind, please drop it in the chat and we'll try to get to everything as timely as we can. And also tell me, where you are, who you are. Feel free to drop a little chat in and just let us know that you're listening and kind of where you live, and would love to say hello. So let's go ahead and get started. Carla, introduce yourself.
Yes, good afternoon or good morning. My name is Carla Reyna. I am a talent acquisition supervisor here at AMN. I've been with the company for about 8 years, started as a video remote interpreter, moved on to hiring specialist. Then that led to a team lead position, which has led now to my current position as supervisor.
Yes, thank you, Carla. Happy to have you. And Pierre, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Good morning. My name is Pierre, and I'm happy to be here with you today. I'm currently working as a Haitian Creole interpreter here at AMN. I was trained at American Against Language Barrier about 4 years ago, and I have a total of 5 years of experience as an interpreter. I'm also multilingual, so I think it's I think there is a bit of nuance here, cultural nuances that pertain to many different languages that I can help with in this live show today. Good morning.
Thank you, Pierre. So happy to have you. And Kevin, yeah, so happy to have you too. Introduce yourself.
Hello, happy to be here. Happy to see all the people in the chat and all the people joining us today. My name is Kevin. I'm the founder, one of the co-founders and the executive director of Americans Against Language Barriers. So we're a 501c3 nonprofit based in Chicago, but work nationwide. And our charitable mission is to improve the quality of life of those with language barriers. We started this in 2018. We've been growing since. And one of the ways we do that, one of the ways we advance our charitable mission is by training people to become the best possible interpreters they can be, to help limited English people access high quality healthcare.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you so much. Yeah, this is going to be a great conversation. Jenna, it looks like you're back. You might just be that Jenna's another one of our fabulous panelists. Can you hear me, Jenna?
I can, and I'm so sorry. I am experiencing some technical difficulties, but I'm going to get that sorted out as quickly as possible. I'm Jenna Linton. I'm a training specialist at Tennessee. We are a language institute based in Tennessee. We're a part of UT Knoxville, the Institute for Public Service. And among the many services that we provide are interpretation and translation services, as well as training for professional interpreters in all industries.
Excellent. Thank you so much. We're happy to have you. We have a couple of guests in the audience, so I would like to call out Martin from Mexico. Hello. Lillian from St. Augustine. That's my hometown. Happy to see you. Princess from Ocala and Joycelyn from Dallas. Happy to have you guys here. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump right in. So, because our audience is so diverse, right? We might have people who have never heard of interpreting, but maybe they're bilingual, wanting to get into this profession. So let's just kind of go into a little bit of background, right? So Jenna, for someone brand new, this question is for you. What exactly is a medical interpreter training program?
Sure. So a medical interpreter training program is it's an opportunity where it's an opportunity where bilingual folks who have an interest in pursuing a career as a professional interpreter can get training in, generally speaking, how we work as a professional interpreter, things like ethics, standard of practice, details like positioning, and the roles of the interpreter. And then more specifically in a medical interpreter training program, there's a focus on the candidates learning about anatomy and physiology so that when they enter into the workforce as a professional medical interpreter, they are better equipped to interpret accurately because they understand the content of what they're interpreting. So a medical interpreting training course is very specifically designed for folks to learn how to be professional interpreters within a context of medical terminology and vocabulary and situations.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you for that. And I think it's so important to understand because I know from the recruiting side, we encounter candidates all the time who think, oh, I'm bilingual, I can do this, right? But there's so much more to it than just speaking two languages. So thank you. Kevin, next question is for you. How does a training program ensure that the providers are able to give patients meaningful access to healthcare?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I think the training program ultimately is supposed to be a transformative experience, right? It's often taking individuals that maybe have been interpreting informally for family members and friends that may have informal experience, but really they've been speaking the languages for a very long time, oftentimes their entire life. And it's meant to equip them to work in a healthcare setting and be qualified to do so. And so oftentimes we learn that some of the burden to even direct providers and manage the encounter depends on the interpreter, right? We might remind the provider, for example, to speak directly to the patient and be transparent with the patient, of course. So small things like that, I think, really do have a big impact on patient care, even from the provider's perspective. And providers do notice when they're working with a trained interpreter. It is a much smoother experience for them.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's amazing how the benefits are not just for the participant, for the interpreter, but they're, for the LEP, for the providers. So yeah, that's great. We had a couple more people I'd like to just shout out in the audience. IPEC from Orlando and Tulip from Mexico as well. So thanks for saying hello. We have Alona from Charlotte. And next question is for Carla. So tell us about the Interpreter Career Connections program. This is what we're here for. Kind of tell us a little bit about it.
Thank you, Kristen. Yes, we're absolutely so excited about this partnership. Career Connections is a partnership that we've implemented with a few hand-selected reputable interpreting training programs. It provides candidates a pathway of employment with AMN as an AMN medical interpreter. This opportunity prioritizes interpreters holding a 40-hour or more medical interpreting certificate, which we're really excited about.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. I mean, we as a company, obviously, we value hiring individuals who are trained. At AMN, we do have some training options as well, but of course, it's invaluable to have candidates who have already come to us with that knowledge and exposure. So great, thank you. Pierre, next question is for you. So how did you first hear about AMN and what made you decide to apply?
Thank you for your question. I heard online, I think I've seen a certain post from recruiters online, and I got in touch with my recruiter then. The reason why I applied, I was previously in a group of interpreters from the training that I received actually, and all I heard initially were good things, very good things about the company, professionalism, and I wanted another experience compared to what I've had before. Before I was working more independently, and I wanted to be part of a team. So that's the reason why I applied.
Well, we are the best, and we're happy you're here. Thank you. Okay, good. Wow, we have quite an audience. We have Smriti from Atlanta. I'm sorry if I'm butchering anyone's name. Jessica from New Jersey. Hatana from New York. Yeah, nice to have you all. Sarah from Massachusetts. Okay, and so Kevin, next question's for you. So, what does your training program cover? Kind of what sets it apart? Tell us a little bit about your training.
Yeah, so I think that, of course, we have the foundational knowledge that we provide that's going to ensure that people are qualified as an interpreter. So what we try to do is we try to ensure that people meet the definition of qualified interpreter under federal law, which involves being able to interpret, of course, accurately, having techniques to be transparent. I think what a lot of people fear when they are first getting into the profession is they're worried about knowing all of the medical terminology, right? They think they have to have it all memorized. But of course, we give them tools to navigate situations using the code of ethics and standards of practice, where even if they don't know a word, even if it's a new word to them, they can still, at the end of the day, provide the meaning of that term, work in order to ensure that the meaning is still communicated and they can move on, because we're not interpreters of words, we're interpreters of meanings ultimately. And so I think what we try to do is we try to make sure that people are really ready to enter the field more than anything. They've already been speaking these languages, of course, for years, and they really need to just learn to navigate those complex situations and, of course, have lots of practice. And so, we have a 60-hour program. We're working on launching our 100-hour program. We have, that's all in spoken language. We're also about to launch a ASL program where it's kind of advanced training for interpreters that are already qualified ASL interpreters, all taught in sign language and deaf-led, of course. And I think what we try to do is anytime someone graduates from a program, whether it be the 60-hour or the future 100-hour ASL program, we give them continuous training for multiple years after they graduate, with some job placement assistance afterwards as well. And so we're not kind of just leaving them and kind of expecting them to keep that up themselves. We still kind of, if they still want to, at least hold them accountable to practice with us twice a month, come to some events that we invite them to, and really ensure that they are motivated, right? Because we notice that sometimes those skills still need to be continuously developed even after an introductory program.
That's great. So what are the, you said something about continuous education and tools. Tell us a little bit about that.
So once students graduate, they get a alumni membership to the Society of Professional Interpreters. And that is an AALB membership society. And the alumni membership is a 2-year membership given to all alumni for free. It covers, there's no hidden costs or anything. It covers 2 hours of practice sessions once a month, instructor-led. So, people RSVP to that, and we try to make sure that we make an effort to invite people that speak your language as well, or sign your language if you're a sign language interpreter, and really make it a productive experience. So it's basically an extended simulated practice session. We have scripts and things like that where we're allowing people to make mistakes, but in a simulated environment, so we can give feedback and they can continuously improve. And beyond that, we have job placement assistance to make sure that we help you build your resume and make sure that we're setting you up for success ultimately. All of that would be included in the program.
That's great. Yeah, that sounds like you're really, really giving them all the tools they need to succeed. So nice to hear. And Jenna, we definitely want to hear from you. Same question. I know you had some technical difficulties, and of course, this is a live show, so we expect these things. No worries. Tell us all about your program at TLC.
Sure. So our medical interpreter training program is a 70-hour comprehensive that is given virtually, 100% virtually. We previously had done it in-person classes. COVID changed a lot of things, but recognize that it just enables a wider audience of folks to take the course. So we do have a fully virtual course. One of the things that we really pride ourselves with this program on is the fact that a large chunk of those 70 hours is spent in simulated practice. So sort of echoing what Kevin was saying, this is an opportunity for interpreters to use scripts and practice interpreting in a safe environment where they have a language coach who's a certified interpreter observing them as they're interpreting and giving them feedback and answering their questions. So the course is in those 70 hours, a large part of it is those simulations, but the students are also learning theory related to how to work as a professional interpreter, the basics of interpreting in general, skills like intervening, strategic mediation, standards of practice, those sorts of things. And then we also have a medical doctor who teaches our anatomy and physiology portion. So part of that theory portion is an opportunity for interpreters to learn about the different body systems. So that, again, that they are understanding the content of what they're interpreting, which we know is really critical to being able to remember and interpret accurately. And so the combination of all of those things makes for a bilingual individual who goes in with perhaps no knowledge of what medical interpreting is and leaves the program ready to work and ready to pursue certification either with CCHI or NBCMI.
That's great. Yeah. And Jenna, tell me, in those live practice sessions, are those available in like multiple languages, or is that only offered to a few select languages?
No, we basically, when we have students register, we find out, what their language pair is, and then we will have the scripts translated so that the person who is the Cantonese speaker or Arabic speaker, whatever it may be, they can do these simulations in their own language. This cohort, for example, that we've just started, we do have a Cantonese interpreter. And many Spanish interpreters as usual, but we do have a Cantonese interpreter. And so we'll be getting the scripts translated for this participant, and we'll have a language coach who is a Cantonese medical interpreter who will observe the simulations with that particular candidate.
Wow, that's really cool. Thank you. I'm going to say hello to a couple more folks. We have Ella from California, Oscar from Mexico City. I love Mexico City. I was just there this year. Isaac from Kenya, Daniel from Mexico, Maria from South Carolina. So happy that you're all here listening. This is great. Okay, next question, we have Carla. So Carla is very unique because you have been an interpreter, you are heading up our Career Connections program, you have gone through training yourself. Tell us from your unique perspective, what about the medical interpreter training program prepares you for the realities of the job?
Yes, of course. From my perspective, a truly effective medical interpreter training program doesn't aim to prepare someone for every possible scenario. That's just not possible. It's too vast and it's simply just not feasible. Instead, it focuses a lot on what we heard from our panelists already, equipping interpreters with a strong ethical background or foundation, equipping them with the terminology knowledge, the knowledge of our professional standards of practice. It garners them with practical tools. It empowers them to navigate diverse and unpredictable encounters with confidence and ethical integrity. It helps them understand that our role as interpreters is to be a tool of communication, ensuring that both parties can communicate as if they speak the same language. This is what's going to help them ensure that these patients are obtaining meaningful access to healthcare, right? So obviously we cannot be prepared for everything, but having that code of ethics and that standards of practice knowledge is going to help us navigate whatever comes our way.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I think again, sometimes people come in to us thinking that they can do this job, but it's like, no, you don't want to go out into the world dealing with medical scenarios without the proper training. So, okay, Pierre, next, tell us about your experience as someone who's gone through a training program. How was that?
Yes, I think personally, before I became a trained interpreter, I used to interpret without training. Not too much in a medical setting, I will say that. Mainly at church and sometimes for missionaries. So with kids, nothing too dangerous there. But I could easily see how different my interpreting skills were from even before I finished my training. I could easily see the difference, and that certain things in trainings they are given. There you have to respect both parties. Certain things are given, but there are things that if you did not get trained, there is no way you could know them. And sometimes even if you knew them, you would not know how to put them into practice, we will say. One of the things that that really impacted me in training was the area of impartiality and advocacy. So sometimes before I became trained, I would more often advocate for people when it was not necessary. And sometimes when you, especially if you're working with a language that is your native language, you're closer culturally to the LAP. So you tend to be a bit impartial. You tend to take side just to try to make it as if I'm trying to make this person understood. I'm trying to make the other person communication effective. But effectiveness in communication does not always have to be in ways that we imagine. There are standards. There are ways. There are basically what we were talking about earlier, Jaina, is standards of practice, especially in the medical field.
Yeah, thank you for that. And I think that's a really good call out that it's very important to understand that your role is not the helper, right? You're not there to help people make decisions. You are strictly there to be a conduit of information. So yeah, thank you for that. All right, and before we move on, I just want to do a little call out. We certainly have job openings. So I know our listeners might not be able to stay for the whole thing. If you're here just joining or you have to leave soon, please know we are hiring. We have active openings right now for sign language interpreters, Mandarin, Cantonese, Lao, Vietnamese, Rohingya. We have so many openings. Not only do we have our VRI positions, we have some over the phone, some in person. So please feel free to check out our website and throw an application in. We would love to talk to you. And okay, moving right along. Kevin, so what kind of requirements should students expect before signing up for the program? Anything to help prepare them?
Yeah, good question. And before I answer that question, I just want to say it's good to see Pierre. It always warms my heart when we see students working on the field like this. And I'm glad that your experience has been positive, so far. To answer your question, though, the prerequisites, essentially, we have a technical prerequisite, which I think most people may not benefit from understanding. It's a 2+ on the ILR scale, basically the minimum proficiency needed for certification. Because of our program, of course, qualifies you to take that national certification exam in addition to working immediately. But, I think what I like to tell students is that if they're not quite sure, of course, they can take our proficiency test and find out. But ultimately, do they feel comfortable interpreting and in life or death situations? Because a simple primary care appointment, which seems simple, can become a life or death situation within moments. And so if someone is not comfortable with that, if they hesitate, I would tell them to think a little bit more, before they jump into it. Maybe take a proficiency test and see where they stand. Is it an issue of confidence? Sometimes it is. Or is it just an issue of actual proficiency? Because that's really the main requirement, right? If they have proficiency and they have a good microphone, a good stable internet connection, a webcam, they qualify to take the training as long as they're fluent in English and at least one other language. It can be any language, spoken or signed, right? But that proficiency is a strict requirement, and we screen for that in the beginning. We require everyone to take that proficiency test, and people can pay $50 and take it ahead of time if they want to before they register. But if someone signed up for the training and they didn't pass the proficiency test, we would refund them everything besides the $50 proficiency testing fee. And they would need to take that in English and their target language, speaking and listening. Okay, so no reading or writing is required, but they do need to pass the speaking and listening test.
Perfect. Thank you. That's very helpful. Now, do you, Kevin, do you do an assessment afterwards? Do you give an assessment afterwards or just before?
So they have an assessment afterwards too. Once they complete the training, they have to pass a final exam that has a written portion and a consecutive interpreting portion.
Wow.
So, we give multiple attempts on those, but it essentially makes sure that they were coming to class and they're paying attention. And so we have strict attendance requirements too. This is a live training. If we find that something happens where a student is not able to attend, of course, we just defer them to a future class, or we have them make up a couple of classes here and there. We're very flexible as we have multiple classes going on at any given time. But we have an assessment at the end where it's a written exam that tests them on their code of ethics and standards of practice, essentially their decision making, which I know AMN really cares for, right? And then after that, we do a consecutive interpreting assessment where, of course, we've been observing them practice. And we've been making sure that they're qualified before they even sit for that. So we expect them to pass that. But just for the sake of proper, thorough assessment, at the very end, we make sure that we're setting them up for success. If they don't pass that, then we help them. We support them before giving them a retake on that. They would have 2 attempts at the written test and 3 attempts at the consecutive interpreting demonstration.
That's great. Yeah, it sounds like they're very well prepared. All right, Jenna, do we still have Jenna? I know again, with the technical problems, this happens, not the end of the world. Can you hear me, Jenna?
Yes.
Oh, excellent. Okay. So yeah, any requirements that students should expect before they sign up for training with TLC?
Yeah, so it's very similar. We also have a language proficiency requirement. And the reason that we do that is because it is quite a significant investment for folks. And to work as a professional interpreter, you do need to be bilingual. You need to have advanced language skills in both English and your other language, or else this is not the right career path for you. So we want to make sure that candidates who are interested in pursuing a career in medical interpretation have that baseline requirement in order to consider a career as an interpreter. So we have that requirement that they would take a language proficiency assessment and get a particular score on both English and their target language. And if they don't pass that proficiency assessment, we just recommend that they, try again at another date, at another time. So they won't be able to take the course essentially. And then, so those are the only requirements that we have for anyone to come into the course. And then we do, because it is online, of course, folks need to be able to log in and get in. We recommend that getting on a desktop computer or a laptop computer is the best option. But we try to be as flexible as possible with our students because they're all adults. Many of them have kids or they're working full time. So we try to be as understanding as possible as they're moving through the course. And because it is a 70-hour course and the requirement for sitting for the certification exam is 40 hours, we also try to be quite flexible when it comes to attendance. We allow for them to miss up to 5 classes, but if they do miss class, we will schedule makeup sessions for those students who weren't able to attend particular classes. Or they can reach out to me and I will specifically sit down with them and go over the materials that they may have missed.
Oh, that's great. It sounds like both of the programs are very flexible and accommodating to people who might have other jobs, as many interpreters do. You know, this is a great profession for someone who might have a full-time job and they want to just do it in the evenings or on weekends or something. So that's great.
Mhm.
Peter, do you remember your days of taking the language assessment? And can you kind of give the audience some tips for how to prepare for taking the assessment?
Um, yes, I actually do. I remember almost every single language assessment that I'm taking, particularly the one with the American Language Barrier. I have to say it's not too intense. So if you were to try it, you have to go ahead and try it. They do. I know that fluency is very important to them. So whatever I remember was the nerves that builds to trying to get take your assessment, but it was not too complicated. Maybe maybe I'm impartial here because I am actually fluent in the languages that I was trying to interpret initially. But I've really enjoyed the experience at American Against Language Barrier. For other language assessments, um, for instance, the with AMN, you have to go deeper into medical terminology. You have to prepare a bit more, and there's there's uh, there's a mock doctor visit that you have to interpret for. So if you have received the training, it will be easier for you, but there's also a lot of preparation. Medical terminology is never given. Like I think Kola will say that when you're working as an interpreter, there's always going to be something you did not know. There's always going to be something you did not expect. You may go a full week, easy week. I did not learn any new word today, but wait for the next week. There is going to be something that you did not know, and you will have to look it up, and you'll have to explain it or interpret it. Accuracy is extremely important in the medical field. We're not out to kill people. We're out to help them.
Yes, thank you so much for that. Yeah, and I think just that preparation is great, right? Like get yourself in the mindset that this is what you could be prepared for. Are you someone that needs to know everything, that, that type A that is not good with change and unexpected? Maybe this is not for you, but yeah, that's great. Thank you. We have a couple questions from the audience that I would like to get to. Jocelyn is very interested. She completed a 40-hour training already, so that's great. So we would love to talk to you. I would say just apply. Is your best thing to do is apply on our website. Um, you know, we have positions kind of listed all the time because our needs change so often. So if you don't hear back right away, it might just be that we're covered for, this month, but chances are we'll have another position open. So please be patient. And then Isaac is asking if we hire interpreters outside the US. So right now we only have openings in the US, Mexico, and Costa Rica. So unfortunately, it looks like you live in, oh, I don't know, but just those three countries for now. And a couple people are asking questions that I think Kevin will get to. Jenna, we might have lost. That's okay. So moving right on, Kevin, when does your next program begin? And this is actually what someone asked. Ella asked. Yeah.
So, we make an attempt to have at least one program starting every 30 days, and we try to make it outside of business hours too. Our most recent program just started on just a couple days, or 3 days ago on August 17th, and we still have late registration open for that actually, where, one can watch the recording and register for that. That one is a Saturday, Sunday class that goes every Saturday, Sunday from August 17th to October 18th from 9 a.m. Eastern to 12 p.m. Eastern. So kind of like a weekend morning class. And then after that, the next one starting is September 3rd. If you're an experienced interpreter or maybe you already work in healthcare, I recommend this one because it's an accelerated class. If 3 days a week instead of 2, but it's kind of a late night class. So it's 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern time, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, from September 3rd to October 15th. And so those are the 2 options available right now. We're about to launch a third one as well, starting early October. That's going to be Tuesdays and Thursdays from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Right, so those are the options available. If any of those work, students can sign up for those directly, or of course, if there's issues in terms of like 1 or 2 days where they're not able to attend, of course, we're able to work with students and kind of put them in a hybrid class where they're attending 1 or 2 days on one schedule and the rest on another. So those are the next classes that start for the 60-hour training. The 100-hour training we're planning on launching in the winter, likely in December or January. And the ASL training we're planning on launching at the same time. And that's going to be, again, continuing education for qualified ASL interpreters.
That's great. So when it's cold and you could just hunker down and study, that's perfect. What's the cost of your training, Kevin?
So at any given point, first of all, we're a nonprofit, so we give certain scholarships for individuals that are low income based in Chicago. That's what we're trying to do right now. And occasionally go to different cities as well. But right now, for the next year or so, we're going to be giving scholarships for those that are based in Chicago. For those that just sign up for the program directly, they would be paying $980, and they can split that over 5 months. So, there's a payment plan where they can just do 980 divided by 5. There's no fees or interest or anything like that. And it lasts longer than the course itself for those that need that flexibility. And essentially, after that, that includes everything from the training itself to the 2-year alumni membership, where they can practice with us for 2 hours a month, so 24 hours a year, job placement assistance, all of that. So beyond that, we of course we try to support alumni in whatever way needed. Our team is always available to respond to alumni questions, usually within a business day or two, just to make sure that we're advancing our charitable mission and giving you more than what you pay for. Ultimately, we want to make sure that whatever you invest is used to give you even more value to make you the best interpreter that you possibly can be. And then of course, the job placement assistance is in 2 phases. We have a live job placement assistance every 45 days, where we meet with you for 4 hours, kind of like a hands-on thing. We help you build your resume. We help you apply for jobs. And then we have a self-paced one for those that can't attend. I know schedules can be difficult, and it's created for self-paced learning. So it's not just a recording of the live one. And we sometimes have to meet with students one-on-one, but we try to not have to do that. But if someone absolutely cannot attend the live one and they don't really learn in a self-paced way, of course, that's something we can have a team member meet with you just to make sure that you succeed ultimately.
Excellent. Kevin, you're blowing up here. Everybody has questions for you. Somebody wants to know if you can repeat the dates for the ASL class.
So it's not a set date yet. That's going to be launched in the winter. So we're expecting it in December or January. We've already had it in the past. We're updating and refining the curriculum. We're hiring new instructors, just making sure it's as high quality as possible. As someone that's not, I am a Gujarati interpreter myself. I'm not an ASL interpreter. I do have to depend on, other individuals that I delegate that to make sure that the quality is good. So it takes a little bit longer, but we're hoping to have that launched in December. And that's going to be a 40-hour training specifically for American Sign Language taught in ASL. So you already have to be a qualified interpreter, and it's going to be CEUs for RID certified interpreters as well.
Awesome. Thank you. And Juliana is asking if there's 2 different providers. Yes, unfortunately, we lost Jenna. She was from TLC. Hopefully we can answer some of the questions and give a little bit more specific detail if anyone has questions about TLC. That way, we don't lose this opportunity to get the word out about that great program too. And let's see. Oh, last question for Kevin before we move on. Barbara is asking if you hire trainers into your program to do the training.
I didn't quite understand. Are you saying, do we have external, other trainers besides myself?
Are you hiring trainers? Yeah, to do the training for your program.
Currently hiring. We are always hiring trainers in the sense that we're always looking for the best. I think that's really what distinguishes our program more than anything, the quality of the instructors. I do a lot of the training, but of course I try to hire people that are even better than myself, right? So ultimately, the quality of our instructors is something that we lean on heavily, and we're always always looking to recruit people that know how to lead a classroom, that understand the nuance of being an interpreter, that really understand the art of being an interpreter, and that kind of have that mindset of just wanting to support students even more than asked, right? And so if you want to know more information about hiring, you can always email us on our website. I'm sure the contact information for the website and all that will be shared. But it's aalb.org, right? You can see it on there.
Thank you. And Kevin, I'm so used to talking to you. Carla, I know a question on a lot of people's mind is, what is the difference between a training program certificate and a national certification? If you can explain that.
Yes, absolutely. That is such an important distinction, and interpreters absolutely need to know the difference. And that's something we actually look for. That understanding is something that we look for at AMN. So a training certificate is awarded by a training program provider, such as one like our guests. And essentially, it is a proof of training. So when you go through this program, they give you a training certificate, and that proves to us that you're a trained interpreter. National certification is awarded by a national certifying body, such as NBCMI, which is National Board of Certified Medical Interpreters, or CCHI, which is the Certification Commission for Healthcare Interpreters. And this is considered a professional credential. So a certificate is a proof of training, certification is a professional credential.
Yeah, thank you. And we, of course, love to see any fully certified candidates that come our way, fully certified interpreters. But of course, the full certification is not available in all languages. So the good thing is there's plenty of other resources. And even if you don't have any training, certainly apply. We would always like to talk to you, and our recruiters are happy to give you some options as well. But yeah, definitely don't let that stop you. Don't think that you need a training to apply with us. You can do that at any time. And all right, we are getting a little close to the end here, but did want to ask from Pierre, tell us about like a moment on the job when you thought that, wow, I'm so glad I chose AMN as an employer.
Honestly, daily at AMN, we are organized in team based on your language, or based on your language prayer or your languages. Certain team have more than one language, like the team I'm in right now has French and Haitian Creole. There's always support available. We have a team channel where people can ask questions. Our supervisors are very hands-on. It takes them less than 40 minutes to answer our questions, and the actual providers that we work with. One thing that I realize is that AMN goes out to the provider and train them in how to work with their interpreter. So this helps a lot, because when you encounter a provider, if you're working at AMN, it's somebody who already knows what your job is. It's somebody that already knows how to help you with your job. When I worked before at different organizations, oftentimes you would have to remind the provider, please speak in shorter sentences, or make only 4 to 5 sentences at a time. Don't, But here at AMN, the providers, they really do know that 4 to 5 sentences are what we can handle effectively most of the time. And the respect is not just the interpreter who's going to do their best to do the job. It's the provider also know what's going on. So the patient at the end of the day is going to have a better experience.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much for that. All right, we have time for one more question from the audience. This is a very good question. Juliana says she's a little confused because we offer training programs here as well as employment. And then, of course, we're talking to outside agencies that offer training programs. So Just to clarify, yes, at AMN, we do have training programs. However, they are not the same as like AALB and TLC because you can't take our certificate and go work somewhere else. So ours are specifically for any internal candidates. And Kevin, would you like to answer the question, do you all provide employment at AALB or are you strictly doing the trainings?
We focus strictly on workforce development in the sense that there is a shortage of qualified individuals, right, that are qualified to be interpreters as per the definition on the federal level. And so, we don't hire interpreters directly. Of course, we hire TAs and things like that, but we're working on developing a language service provider. But our really main focus is making sure that we address the shortage of qualified interpreters, especially in person. We see that remotely nowadays, and oftentimes the shortage is less extreme. But in person, the shortage of qualified interpreters, including in Spanish, right, what we would expect to be the most common language, and it is, but there's still a shortage based on the need. So that's really what we focus on, and then we connect people to outside agencies like AMN, for example. You guys have been a partner with us for a long time, and we have other partnerships like local hospitals and connections where we can recommend students to go. And so that's what our main focus is. And I just want to clarify that, the difference between a certificate and a certification is a massive point of confusion for students when they enter the training. And we spend like an hour just going through that on the first day. What is a certificate? What's a certification? What's a license? Those are all three different credentials. And what do you exactly need to start working? Technically, federal law does not say any of that, right? It doesn't say you need a certificate, doesn't say you need a certification or a license, but you can prove that you're a qualified interpreter through a certificate, and you would need that certificate to go sit for the national certification exam, right? So it's kind of like a step-by-step sort of process there. And of course, there's different phases to national certification, all of that beyond, I think, this podcast, but that's something that students would be trained on in detail, so they kind of know what to expect. And kind of as you guys implied, when you go to an employer, you want to make sure you represent the credentials you have accurately. You don't want to say you have certification when you have a certificate. The employer sees that as a red flag, right? You don't know the credential you have. And so that's something that we have to make sure that students are really comfortable with and understand from the beginning of the program.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. And for anyone who enjoys this show, by the way, we do have an archive of past shows. We have done a show specifically in detail on the national certifications, and we do have an archive show about our own internal training. So if you're really wanting to learn, go ahead and check out our blog on our website, amnhealthcare.com. And I think this is all. This is it. We've gone over, but this was such a great show. So I just want to thank the audience for tuning in, and thank you so much to Kevin for joining. Thank you, Jenna, even though we had to drop her off, but thank you so much for all the thoughtful input, Carla and Pierre, and of course to our amazing interpreting team, Sean and Sasha. So we'll see you this time next month. Bye-bye.
Thank you.